All right, we are going to get started here in just a couple minutes, but first, want to thank Reaper618179 for following on Twitch and Down Up Destiny for following on Twitch. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you so much. We're getting closer and closer to ticking more boxes for affiliate. That's exciting. So if you're here and you're watching live or you're watching later, however you do it, that's cool. Just make sure you follow. If you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate it so much. We are going to get started here with episode 62 in just a few minutes. And few minutes is like one, maybe two, more like a couple. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the PlayStation Forecast, episode 62. I am your host, Alex Derrickson, and I hope you guys have had a great last 7 days. If you're watching live on Twitch and you're in the Americas, I hope you and yours are having a lovely Memorial Day and Memorial Day weekend as well. And it is unfortunate we all have to go back to work tomorrow, unless you're build in like a longer vacation or like a 4-day thing, a situation like that. More power to you. You're just playing the game. That's all you're doing. You're playing the cards right, and you're climbing that ladder of success successfully. But hope you guys are doing good. It's been fucking hot here. It has been incredibly hot in this area in the Midwest, and I've been outside a lot. Got to play with the kiddo outside. We have him a little kiddie pool, and he was in there splashing around. We got him a little slide. He spent some time with his cousins. It was a good weekend. I'm feeling rejuvenated. And I don't know if it's all that extra vitamin D I took in. However, in case you're wondering if I am still the hot mess behind the mic that I still claim to be, yes. During the intro, I did not have the lid onto my water all the way, and I have developed some magnificent stains across the bottom of my shirt as I dribbled the water down my chin. And all that noise. Now on to games. The games I've been playing, the housekeeping and all that we will do. Started into Observation. I talked about it last week. It was one of my two Alex Derrickson ass games of the week, right? Like that and Everybody's Golf VR, which I will touch on here in just a second. Now, Observation, it's from No Code, and it's a small team at No Code, but the director at No Code, who they last did Untold Stories? It was a episodic horror game that came out 2-ish years ago. I think it was called Untold Stories. The director over at No Code was one of the artists on Alien Isolation, so that should give you a really good idea of the style of game we're going to talk about. Observation, though, it's not a horror; it's more of a thriller. It's a I described it on another podcast. It was an atmospheric puzzle thriller. It was the best way I put it. Now, from a narrative standpoint, this is a strong ass game. It's like 6 or 7 hours. I've put, I'd say 3.5 into it. I haven't gotten the couple, the extra couple hours I need just to finish it. Just either playing something else or getting distracted. And there's some negatives I have about the game that don't tip the scales really too much, but it's enough to kind of like break me from it, and we'll get there. Now, the good of Observation. One, it's published by Devolver. Y'all know I love them. The other good, the actual like technical goods. It is a gorgeous looking game. Like, it really, really is. For as minimalist as it is, for as like I guess, spatially vacant as it is, since it is a game that takes place in space. It captures that well. It's a little bit of Alien, it's a little bit of Gravity, it's a little bit of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's a little bit of Moon, and it's all kind of like the best of those are at the center of this Venn diagram that's observation. You play as the ship's AI, SAM, which stands for Systems Administration and Maintenance. And you basically hop around the different parts of the ship to try and like repower the ship, solve puzzles, do things like that. But you're controlling the ship's like airlocks, you're controlling the camera, you're controlling different aspects of the ship. And sometimes you've got to like take over like it's a sphere and schmear, and you're shooting through the ship and trying to get through to different aspects or different parts of it. There's a few outside like spacewalk things which I'm gonna get to because I have very strong feelings on that. But it has this just ominous sense of dread that just lingers through this game. It's awesome. Because you feel like something's going to happen. You feel like something's going to jump out and like give you a spookins, and it never happens. It stays really calm. It stays pretty like, within itself to be like, hey, look, no, like you're just feeling dread. You're alone. Like it's just you and this other woman, and like you're an AI, and you're having memory core issues. It's classic sci-fi stuff like that. But about a half hour into it, right before the game starts, is basically like a cold open, right? And then it's like 35 minutes in, it gets into the credits, the opening credits and all that. The twist at like the 30-ish minute mark, like, and it because it kicks to the credits after that, is awesome. Like, it's so cool and it's so well done. And like, yeah, it doesn't do anything that makes you go like, that's new and different. But like the execution of it, the build up to it, the way the lines are delivered once it happens, the shot that it gives for this reveal, it's so cool and it's so well done. And it hammers home that sense of dread, that sense of urgency, that sense of confusion and things like that you would want in a sci-fi game like that, where you are alone and you are a non-human person too. Like that's the other part of it. The game itself is gorgeous. It does a lot of great stuff with the atmosphere, with the more like just kind of like it uses the ship as its own character, if that makes sense. Like it kind of plays into itself. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and every time you kind of like peel back a layer of that story, it kind of like you get another little surprise. You're just like, oh, and it's that, and oh, and it's that, and oh, it's that. And I really, I think the only thing that could break me from this right now, besides the negative I'm going to get to, is from being a science fiction thriller fan, I know how hard it is to write your way to an ending on that without either doing something that's already been done before, or I guess not evolving on something that's already been done before, or like trying to evolve from it and falling on your face, or a cop out just entirely. And I mean, you can see some of those. It's got a Twilight Zone feel to it, and there are Twilight Zone episodes that very much have like kind of cop out endings where you're just like, oh, and it was just this the whole time. Like, okay, like the cruxes are always kind of like they're either great, or if they're subpar, they're forgettable, right? And I think that's the thing that could really cripple this game, is if it delivers a subpar ending, is where it's going to fall from like a really high 8, low 9 for me right now into like a 7. Now, the reason I'm hovering between high 8, low 9 is, gun to my head, I'd say this is like a 9.2 currently. It really depends on how much more spacewalk stuff I have to do, because this is where I feel like the game kind of falls on its face. What ends up happening is you have to exit the ship sometimes to do like external repairs or do these control adjustments and things like that. That's all good and well. The outside stuff is awesome. The shadowing is great. The lighting is remarkable. Like, just, again, it's another great set piece, a great little like tome, a little great piece of the game's atmosphere to be like, look at how fucked you are. And that part is almost endearing in a way where I'm just like, this is so cool and morbid, but you have to like meander this ship. So the ship is more like a space station. It's more like a space station. It's more like an ISS kind of deal, right? Where you've got like the America's arm, you've got like a Chinese arm, you've got a Russian arm. It's a massive thing that's like hulking, just bruting about through the atmosphere, through the space sphere, right? Now the issue is you've got to bounce from like bit to bit, end to end. If you are in the ship, there is a map. If you're outside of the ship, there is no map. There is no direction, at least at this stage. So it'll be like, hey, Sam, go remove the hull controls from EAS 3. And you're leaving from EAS 11. And you can't really see the markers. They aren't marked consistently, like on the sides of the station, to be like, okay, there was instances on my live stream last week where I was like, okay, there's 2, there's 3, there's 5, there's 7, there's 10, and I'm back at 11 again. Now I'm into the Russian arm. And that is like, it's really frustrating because you're very floaty naturally as this like disembodied sphere floating through space. But there's a lot of stuff to like bang and clang against, and when you do that, it messes with your like system reception a little bit, and it wobbles and tracking lines and things like that, and it's disorienting. And I get why you wouldn't throw an objective marker into a game like this, because you're focusing on the immersion, you're focusing on the barren, kind of like land, or not really land, but the space, the infinite space in front of you, the unknown and all that stuff. And it does a really great job driving that anxiety into you, because there really is no score to speak of. It's a lot of diegetic sound and things like that, and that's awesome. And it just applies its stuff to that atmosphere. But give me a fucking hint section. Give me a button I can press that's just like, yo, go here, you idiot. Because like, I'm getting anxious when I'm playing this, but I'm also feeling really stupid because I feel like I should be able to figure out what it's wanting me to do. And if I go and I'm like, hey, repeat that last command, it'll just be like, go to EAS 3 and remove those hull controls. And like, that's it. You'll get occasionally like oh, you're getting warmer. Oh, there it is. Like, those are so few and far between that when you're trying to float around this hulking, space station, it's easy to get lost. It's easy to get turned around. You don't have a lot of known points of focus or points of reference to kind of bring you back to be like, okay, we're back where we started. Let's re-examine this. And, you can rotate the screen and stuff like that, but that only does so much. And the issue is, too, when you look at the space station, it's a lot of white. It's a lot of black. It's a lot of like bronze color, and it's a lot of gray. So when you're trying to find someone that's in a spacesuit that is made of white, black, and the same bronze color, it's very easy to get turned around and think you're like, oh, that's what it is. Because there's been so many moments where it even said the objective was find the damage that you showed earlier on the exterior of the space station. Okay, that's fine. That was also an hour and a half ago. Like, I couldn't tell you. Then there was like 6 things I found. So I went to these like solar panel arrays, and they're like completely torn apart. I'm like, that's damage. But I would go up to it, and it would be like, no match. I'm like, how is that? That is damage. That is damage. That constitutes damage. And so things like that are really frustrating, because like, it never gives you specific enough to be like, hey, like, go to here. It's always, like, it is like, go to EAS 3, which is specific, but you don't know where that is. And so anytime I have to like leave the station to go out into space, those are the moments where like, I didn't use the game's name directly until a few tweets later, but like, I tweeted like, what do you do when you love a game, but there's a part of it that just breaks you from it so badly that you don't even have that drive to finish it? And that's kind of how I feel about the spacewalk stuff. Now, the nice thing is if you can kind of get the ball rolling and know like the boom, 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 how to get through it, it's maybe like 10, 15 minutes, if that. But the issue is like, that 10 or 15 can easily be 35, 40 if you're just, or I guess more like 25, 30 probably, if you're just getting turned around and you can't navigate or you can't find it, because those shadows get so harsh as you move in on the ship. Like, it gets to be a lot more black, and you can like, is that burns? Are those burns from like, or is that damage? Is that it? And like, nope, that's a panel. There's a spot too on one of the arms where if you go into scan mode, it was blinking. I'm like, oh shit, there are objective markers. Like, I just missed that. And I go up to it and it's like, no match. That's not what you're looking for. And it's like, but why are you blinking? And maybe I need that later, but like, why is it blinking now? So it's a technical design choice, right? To do that, to not have those objective markers, to be like, hey, like, you've got to float out into this nothing and find what I'm asking you to do. And I get that, and it drives that anxiety, and it drives that frustration, and it drives that sense of vacancy. But also, sometimes give me something. Like, there's a medium like area there that you could hit that I think would be perfect. and maybe make it optional, but I cannot speak highly of this game enough. It is available now. It is $25. In terms of just like, if you're looking for like a quick beat indie game, 6-ish hours, that's got a really cool story, a really cool like connective tissue in the tale that it kind of that it tells, with a few like design hiccups that just didn't play well for me, I cannot recommend Observation. Right now it is a front runner for me for indie game of the year, and I could see it showing up right now I could easily see it showing up in my top 5 for the end of the year, like wholesale, like speaking, stem to stern, all of games in 2019. So the next game I played was Everybody's Golf VR. Right? Like, come on. It's me. What more would you expect anything less from me than Everybody's Golf VR, right? So, with Everybody's Golf VR, I love Everybody's Golf. It is awesome. I love the world. I love getting to like kind of be in that in like a full 360 area. It's still super wholesome. It's still super like supportive and cheery and like having a great time. I've put maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours into it. What I can't understand is if this is also a dating sim. And you may be thinking, huh? Like, why'd you say that? And it's because I think the caddies want to have sex with you. And it's very strange. And it's a very weird but brave choice for Clap Hands and Sony Japan to throw this into Everybody's Golf. And so what ends up happening, right, is I still have like the 3-hole limit where you only do like 3 or 4 holes of a round. And then it'll be like event. And you're like, oh, what is this? What is the event? And it loads up and like you're on a bench with your caddy. And she's like, I love these chocolates. Do you want some chocolate? And you're like, I can't answer like this. And then like, she'll like act like she's getting ready to feed it to you. And like, oh, just kidding. Oh, and like, ha 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 ha. And it's like, that's the end of the event. You're like, what? And so you do like another like 3, 4, 5 holes, and it's like event. And it's like, what is this event? And she's like, this is beautiful. Let me show you a special view. And then you're up in like not like almost like a watchtower, right? Like looking, and she's like stretching, and she's like, isn't this just beautiful and great? I love coming up here. And you're like, what is happening? Like, why can't I just golf more? Like, it's one of those things where like you could easily sit there and be like, oh, this is how the dark side of VR starts. But like, also if you're someone like me, you're just like, so I'm just here for the golfing. Like, can I get the tornado cups or like the clubs that make the ball go further? Like, can I just get back to the swinging? Like, my short game is bad. Can we do this? So it's very strange and very like uncomfortable at points. Now, do I think this whole game is a low-key dating sim? No, I don't. But very early on, it very much gives the dating sim vibes. But if you love Everybody's Golf, definitely play this one. It's much more difficult than Everybody's Golf because like your power is within your own ability and like your own like swinging. So you kind of got to just like monitor that and be like cognizant, I guess, of how hard you're hitting the ball or how hard you're swinging the club. All of my hits go very far left, but they say straight and it says nice shot. And then she's like, nice shot. And then it lands and it's like, you're in the rough. And it's like, that is not a nice shot. Just because it went far doesn't make it a nice. Anyways, what I do love is I've double bogeyed every hole. And the complete lack, because Everybody's Golf is very much like a, hey, great job. Yeah. And it's hard to be like that when the person you caddy for double bogeys everything. So you still see them try to be like supportive and caring, but instead it's just your caddy going, you got there. And you go to the next hole. And so like I think once I get the more stuff unlocked and everything like that, have more options, more modifiers, kind of make the game a little easier for me, whatever, and then kind of work on my short game as Happy learns how to putt and all that stuff. But it is so much fun. Like even if you just hang out in the driving range, my dumbass put that helmet, put the headset on, and within seconds forgot I was playing a game and was trying to hold the move controller like it was a goddamn golf club itself. And I was like, oh, I should just like one-hand it and then just whap. And then it was just straight shot, straight shot, straight shot. But I can't avoid like on a driving range, it's straight and awesome and straight and great, right? And then you take it to the actual course and it's like you hit it and it's like, oh, it's in the rough or the semi-rough or out of bounds or right up against a tree. And so it's figuring out how to adapt that stuff into the actual coursework is where I think I'm going to struggle, but that's not going to keep me from playing it because it's fantastic. That is... I'm not going to get it. I streamed Disney's Aladdin and The Lion King on the Genesis on Saturday. I don't need to tell you all about those since this is a PlayStation show, right? Not only is this a PlayStation show, it is the PlayStation Forecast, and it does come to you each and every Tuesday on youtube.com/pressxtoalex and podcast services around the globe. Now, you may notice I left out 9 a.m. in there, and that is because we're just going to put this show up at midnight. Like, why not? You know, at the time, I thought I was going to have more curated, scheduled content. When I launched the show, 9 a.m. made sense. I'm kind of looking at it 62 weeks later and being like, it doesn't really need to come out at 9. Like, it can launch Tuesday when Tuesday starts. So when you get up Tuesday morning, you will find this waiting for you on both YouTube and the podcast service of your choice. But if you want it earlier, you can. And how early? You can get the show live on Twitch at twitch.tv/pressxtoalex, where you can watch the sausage get made as it happens, and all the other sort of mistakes and things like that along the way that I will probably casually make and not call attention to. If you want to support the show, remember the best thing you can do for free is just support it, listen to it, subscribe, write a review on iTunes, post it on the internet, share it out to your friends, spread the word and things like that. But if you want to go beyond that, you can support the show at patreon.com/pressxtoalex for $1 a month or more. I will not say no, but for a minimum of $1 a month, you can help keep these mics and lights working as I try to give you the best show I possibly can. If you want your voice to be heard on the best show I can possibly make, you can write into psforums.pressxtoalex.com or just follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressxtoalex. And as always, all of those links can be found in both the video and audio version of the show. Now, without further ado, what are we running here? About 25? That's a pretty good amount. It's a pretty good amount of stuff. Getting you caught up on the games I've been playing. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's get into the news. So for the last 3 weeks, or I guess last 2 weeks now, 3 weeks being this week, I have come to you with nothing burgers about Death Stranding. Well, now we have a little bit of a something burger, but it does mean I'm going to have to report 4 consecutive weeks about Death Stranding, and it's driving me fucking insane. There's more Death Stranding details coming May 29th. This is from John Fingas over at Engadget. Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding has so far existed as little more than a collection of strange cutscenes and brief gameplay snippets, but it's about to make considerably more dense, hopefully. Kojima Productions has teased a countdown to a news announcement on May 29th, May 30th in Japan. Just what you'll see is in the air, but the mention urges people to, quote, create the rope, end quote. Hopefully that line makes more sense after the unveiling. There's a lot of hype behind the game, at least. Death Stranding will have a star-studded cast that includes Kojima pal Norman Reedus, as well as Mads Mikkelsen, Lea Seydoux, Tommy Earl Jenkins, and veteran game actor Troy Baker. Director Guillermo del Toro is also involved. The question is whether or not the gameplay can live up to those lofty credits. Kojima is certainly an experienced game designer, but this is still his first project since his exit from Konami, and isn't guaranteed the repeat success he enjoyed with Metal Gear. Well, damn, that ends that article on a sour note. So yeah, more actual, for real this time, Death Stranding details will be coming May 29th. So it is currently the 27th. So Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. We'll have more Death Stranding details. If it's anything major, I may pop on for something to talk about. I don't really know. I don't know if this is going to... It's a thing for me where... Excuse me. It's a thing for me where if this trailer doesn't come out with at least a window, like if it just ends and it's like 2020, it's like, cool, perfect. That's all I needed to know. Like if it just comes out and it's like ropes are sometimes made of hemp or nylon. And then Guillermo del Toro swallows a baby, and then Norman Reedus also swallows a baby, and then they kiss, and then they make babies. And I don't need to see any, like, the more I'm seeing of this game, the longer we go without knowing anything about it, but with still these just insane, ridiculous, over-the-top teasers, the less I'm starting to care. Like, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, okay, like, please stop showing anything for Death Stranding until you have something to show. You know, like the gameplay stuff. That was a good next step. Now, for it to constantly be teased, constantly be in these rumors and, you know, constantly, I guess, like in this auto churn, right? Of just like, what's going on with Death Stranding? Nothing. Report it. Like, that's got to stop. And if come May 29th, we don't at least have a year, like, pump the brakes. I'm going to hop off the Death Stranding train until we get something of more substance. But it's a thing, too, where, like, yeah, this could come out, and, like, come Wednesday, I'll be like, I am all on board for Death Stranding. Oh, my God. Like, this looks great. What the hell is, oh, my God. But, like, you've got to give us something at the end. You've got to, you don't even have to explain the plot. You don't have to do anything. Just fucking put a year up there. Just, you could be like, December, ? Like, that would be fine. Like, I would be cool with that. Like, just something, please. So keep your eyes peeled on Wednesday, May 29th, for some Death Stranding deets. On the topic of rumors and details, heading over to Push Square, Robert Ramsey, there's a Last of Us 2 release date reveal possibly coming this week. Now, you know I don't like reporting on rumors, but I also know y'all love yourself some of that there Last of Us. So this kind of has to, you know, this is very, very much like before I even get into this, like grain of salt, like modicum of sodium. Like you set it and forget it on this one is where my head's at here. But I'll read it anyways because we should. Spanish website GameReactor.es says that The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a trailer and a release date later this week, citing sources close to Sony. Adding a little more weight, fellow Spanish site Legion de Jugadores reports the same thing, also citing sources close to Sony. Now, when one site comes out with a rumor as bold as this, we may not give it a second glance, but when two sites say it's happening, it's probably best to take a better look. From where we're sitting, we don't think this entirely out of the question, although we'd still be surprised. Sony isn't at E3 this year, and an announcement out of the blue like this would really steal some thunder away from the big event. There's the Death Stranding reveal happening this week as well. Could it all be related? Is Sony going to stealth drop a state of play? Not totally sold. So really, it's just two Spanish sites are saying a Last of Us release date and new trailer might possibly happen, citing sources close to Sony. Would they couple, the reason I kind of put that, you know, back to back with the Death Stranding thing is would they do that? Because then there's also some light speculation that there's some Ghost of Tsushima stuff coming out. Like, would that all still happen? And, you know, does that warrant an E3 at that point, right? Like, Sony said, hey, we're not doing E3 because, like, we don't feel like we have a lot to show. We just let people down. We need to rethink what E3 is and how we go about it, and that's all good and well. But, like, if you're still going to start bringing, like, announcing shit, like, 2 weeks before, like, why not? But, yeah, I mean, this would give them the opportunity to really dominate the news cycle, to be like, look, boom, Death Stranding, then, like, on Wednesday, and then, like, on Friday or Tuesday, like, bam, boom, Last of Us, you know, like, I don't see them hitting both notes there. Death Stranding is all but, you know, is a confirmed thing. Last of Us 2, still very much a coin flip. I would be surprised. Again, I keep saying that when it comes to Last of Us stuff. Like, I would be surprised if we see anything about this, but everyone's still like, it's a 2019 game. And it's like, is it, though? Like, nothing. What is the indication of that? So, more rumors continue to circulate around The Last of Us 2. None of them really feel like they carry any substance. Also, because I'm not familiar with those two sites, nor have I heard them really like any sort of reporting accuracy within them or anything like that. So, whole mess of grains of salt on this one that you should be taking that with. Next news story. Before we start getting into the whole slot of everything. It's that weird time, right, where it's like right before E3, so just these weird like leaks and deets are coming. This is from John Wilds over at IGN. Ubisoft Pass may have been accidentally leaked on the Ubisoft store because it wouldn't be 2 or 3 weeks before E3 without Ubisoft or Square Enix having some leaks. The Ubisoft store appears to have leaked a placeholder image revealing presumably an EA Access style subscription service. As reported by VG 24/7, a Reset Era user spotted the image that was briefly live on the Ubisoft store, and it appears to out a previously unannounced service called Ubisoft Pass. Although entirely unconfirmed, Ubisoft Pass certainly sounds like a subscription service. Additionally, the word premium leads to speculation that we may even see a tiered service with different levels of access. This wouldn't be surprising considering that Ubisoft typically launches its new game titles with a myriad of special editions. In the current climate of Disney Plus, Google Stadia, and with next gen around the corner, it would not be at all odd to see Ubisoft offer a subscription package, especially when you take into account how many long-running franchises it has. Assassin's Creed. Prince of Persia. Don't say Prince of Persia. If you're not going to sit and tell me there's a new Prince, I just want more Prince of Persia. Splinter Cell, Rainbow Six, and Rayman all have multiple sequels spanning multiple generations, so Ubisoft has more than enough content to fill a service with. The real question is, what would it cost? Yeah, that's a good question. So yeah, something to be on the lookout for. I think with EA and like EA Access EA Access kind of being a thing that, you know, is starting to permeate into now the PS4 space come July and everywhere else, and Stadia and the new consoles and this whole streaming focus. Ubisoft has that catalog to do something like that, right? And if it lets me play, if it's gonna let me play Sands of Time on PS4, like I'm gonna do it. I might just do like a trial for the Sands of Time, but like it's tempting. It's a real tempting thing. Kind of like I said I'd be there day one for EA Access if it means I get to play the Mass Effect trilogy on PS4, right? Like that's all I need. Like why? What? That's how you hook me. You just give me the one thing I'm looking for, right? How I said I didn't understand the point in Blu-ray until Masters of the Universe, the Dolph Lundgren classic, came to Blu-ray, and then one day it came to Blu-ray, and you know, it's eventually all these things just happen, and a Ubisoft Access makes sense. So if it means getting some IP, some properties that are stranded on various generations, brought up to the modern era of PS4, PS5, and so on, so be it. Like it sucks, but also because like there's only so many subscription services one can subscribe to before they're just paying more than they would for the one system there or one service they're just trying to circumvent. In the instance of streaming media, I'm talking about cable. In the instance of video game streaming services, I don't even know. I don't know what you would compare this to, because now it's just this fucking gold rush, and everybody's just trying to get their hat in the ring. Wouldn't be surprised though to see that at E3, along with Just Dance coming to the Wii. Anyways, moving on. But sticking with IGN, kind of following up to the PlayStation Productions news story from last week. We're getting our first glance at what they want to do, what they have planned. If I can get this damn thing to load. So, the thing is, while the news article refreshes, really like the first thing they confirmed, right, was like there's the PlayStation Productions, we're doing this, and then they are going to do a Twisted Metal TV series. I'm just let that sink in for a second. What does that look like? What does a Twisted Metal TV series look like? How do you do those characters? Like, oh my god damn it, it's fucking computer. Not the new one. The new one's great. But so Twisted Metal, a property that is often requested to be brought back by PlayStation fans, are kind of getting their wish in that it's going to come back on TV as a TV series with all those likable characters and the man that's an ice cream truck. I don't know how you would translate that. Like, to a much lesser extent, like I could see a like a Twisted Metal movie maybe working, but like if you're gonna sit there and come at me with a different medium to put a game on, I would not have initially gone like Twisted Metal TV series. That would make all the sense. I'm 100% on board with that. But the article is from Tom Marks, so let's get in here. Sony confirmed during an investor relations presentation today that it is developing a TV show based on the Twisted Metal game series. It also stated that the Uncharted movie is in, quote, advanced development. Sony Picture Entertainment Chairman and CEO Tony Vinciquerra explained that the recently announced PlayStation Productions has closed the deal for a Twisted Metal show, though he didn't share many hard details beyond that. Quote, "We have a TV show we just agreed to get underway that will be developed from the IP on PlayStation. It's called Twisted Metal," end quote, Vinciquerra explained. "It's a game that was put out many years ago, and we're going to develop a TV series around that," end quote. While that's not really a whole lot to go on, it's understandable that Vinciquerra would want to remind investors about the series alongside the news. The first Twisted Metal game came out in 1995, with the latest entry arriving back in 2012. Around that same time, a Twisted Metal movie was announced but was never actually made. Vinciquerra also noted that the Uncharted movie that's been long talked about is in, quote, advanced development, end quote. It's unclear what that actually means, but 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg was revealed to be the director for it as recently as January of this year after Stranger Things' Sean Levy stepped away from the project. PlayStation Productions is expected to turn even more games from Sony's catalog into TVs and movies, though they don't have any hard plans or schedule for how many or how frequently they will release them. So yeah, it's just I don't know how you do a Twisted Metal TV series. I guess we will find out. Thanks to PlayStation Productions, but that just seems like a weird one. That seems like a weird first one to go about. But then people said the same thing about Iron Man. So what do I know? Next news story comes from US Gamer, where we've got your April NPD. One of my most favorite times to do the show is NPD weeks. It's a strange pop-up. All right. So let's go here. Your top 10 best-selling games overall for April 2019 were Mortal Kombat 11. Number 2 is Days Gone. Number 3, MLB 19 The Show. Number 4, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Number 5, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 6, Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 7, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Number 8, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 9, NBA 2K19. And number 10, Yoshi's Crafted World. Your top 10 best-selling games for the PS4 for the month of April in 2019 were as follows. Number 1, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 2, Days Gone. Number 3, MLB 19 The Show. Number 4, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Number 5, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Number 6, Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Number 7, NBA 2K19. Number 8, Red Dead Redemption 2. Number 9, Grand Theft Auto 5. And number 10, Marvel's Spider-Man. All right, so those are those. Kingdom Hearts 3 still remains the best-selling game of 2019 thus far. Let's see. But Kingdom Hearts wasn't even in April's top 20 list, which is crazy. It seems like it's been mostly driven by launch sales, and the post-launch period hasn't really carried, as the game has not even hasn't stayed in the top 20. I mean, that was not surprising at all. We saw it with, we saw like games kind of pitter in and out or whatever over the last few months, like Anthem and things like that. Red Dead coming in, and what was it, 8 on PS4? But I don't think. Let me pull that back up, because I'm getting the PS4 and the total confused. So your top selling games for overall in April, Red Dead doesn't even place in the top 10. It was number 9 on PS4. Am I confusing that? I'm getting this all fucked up. Okay, one second. Yeah, okay, so Red Dead is not on the list in the top 10 for April of 2019, but it was number 8 for PS4 for April of 2019. So it's not entirely surprising. I think to see it kind of hovering around the PS4. Let me see here. I'm gonna look. It did sell higher on Xbox One. It was one, second, third, fourth, fifth highest, but behind GTA 5 on Xbox One. Whereas on PS4, it was number 8. And ahead of GTA 5, which was number 9 on PS4. So they're still kind of like close there, but not enough to crack the top 10 overall, which is interesting, I think, worth noting, especially with Red Dead Online kind of going through, coming out of early access, having that big update, and getting rid of the flaming pile of horses. So just interesting note there that it is sitting where it's at. And then you're looking at like Sekiro still doing well. MLB 19 The Show's hovering around there, both overall and just on PS4, which I think is something that's worth noting, right? Like MLB 19 The Show and Days Gone are your 2 and 3 for the month of April across Xbox One, across Nintendo, across PlayStation, right? And it's 2 and 3 like on overall, and it's 2 and 3 on the single platform that they're both on, which really, I think for me, Days Gone makes sense. Because it's one of those platforms, it's a platform exclusive. It had all the hype behind it, all that stuff. Had a really strong word of mouth following, like commercially, outside of like the critical reception for it. The word of mouth behind Days Gone has been still like kind of like pushing through more so than really anything else on here I've seen outside of save for The Division. But to see MLB 19 The Show in there, because you're breaking like into a niche of a niche at that point, right? It's not just a sports game. It is a baseball game. It is a baseball game that is tied to a specific platform, which yes, has almost over 100 million systems, shipped and sold through it. But still, like that is a niche of a niche, and like those games still continue to sell well. But I feel like 19 is selling better than I think at least in the last year of me doing the show. I don't remember 18 holding on this long, or holding on this well at least. NBA 2K19 makes sense with the playoffs getting ready to start. GTA 5 hovering around in there. Nothing really too much else to sniff your nose at. But Spider-Man coming back into the 10 though was that's not. I think that may have been on sale. But Division still holding strong. Sekiro still holding strong. Days Gone coming in hot. Mortal Kombat coming in hot with just a few days difference. I think it was like a day, 2 days, a week maybe between the two games. MLB 19 right there. Call of Duty, not surprised. Red Dead, not surprised. GTA, not surprised. Everything else, shakes out pretty similarly. So those are your top selling games for the month of April. Moving on over to Eurogamer.net. We've got the PlayStation 5 tech demo footage surfaces at an investor conference. So we talked about that Wired article, right, where they used Spider-Man as the example, the 8-second load time from fast travel on PS4 versus the 0.8 on the solid-state drive of the not officially named PS5, right? So basically what came out from that is they had an investor relations meeting, and it was a... let's see, Wall Street Journal Tokyo journalist Takashi Mochizuki filmed it. He just had his camera out and just filmed the side-by-side juxtaposition of Spider-Man on the PS4 versus Spider-Man on Untitled PS5. And the difference is extraordinary because, 8 seconds doesn't feel, nor does it seem like a long time, but when you're sitting there and you're watching the 8 seconds get counted in very large font, it does feel like forever, especially when you're seeing the same thing at 0.8 seconds. The other really cool thing they showed was they started kind of going through the city, and then they started picking up speed, and they got to what would be it's like a super speed kind of thing, right? And you'd see it go, stop, pop in, environment, building up the draw distance, that horizon line. All right, go, stop, pop, go, stop, pop. And that was on PS4. When they showed the not officially named PS5 one, it was just crank the speed up, and it was just boom, instant. And they were able to go without these breaks, without the game grinding to a halt, without anything just throwing a wall up to be yo, I don't have these homes and these buildings aren't done yet. You need to give me a second, right? So to see that difference, you see the technical difference, right? And yes, everyone, the poo-pooers, the fooies and pashars looked at it and like, well, it's a game of this generation. It should load better on new software. And that, yes, you are right. But going from 8 seconds to 0.8 seconds, I don't think you understand the difference. Like, 0.8 seconds is 0.8 of a second, and that is down from 8 whole actual seconds. Like, come on. Credit where credit is due. That's great. And especially with a game of like that size and that scope that Spider-Man was, with the New York sandbox, you're going at those speeds that they're cranking the game at, and you're watching this instantaneous loading, this instantaneous rendering, pop, render, pop. And on PS4, it is like, okay, bam. Okay, bam. And like you see that difference, and it's remarkable and it's startling. And yes, solid state drives are the way to go. And I'm looking into one myself. But you've got to like give credit to that too, because I mean, like that is a huge improvement in load times and processing power and processing speed, right? We're going to pull from the Eurogamer article here. It's interesting to see the demos described in the Wired article actually running, though. I suspect we are seeing a slightly different presentation. Spider-Man loading times for PS4 Pro in the Wired piece was described as 15 seconds with interstitial screens and Spider-Man himself present on screen. The demo here has no screens and no Spider-Man, but completes in just 8 seconds. However, the next-gen score of 0.8 seconds is consistent. Beyond that, no further details on the next generation project were revealed. However, a slide from the firm's presentation reiterates the key points made in the Wired article. An all-new CPU, GPU, solid-state storage, 3D audio, backwards compatibility, disk support, 8K compatibility, and yes, ray tracing. Those hoping that Sony would talk more about its cloud business partnership with Microsoft likely left the presentation disappointed. The firm has acknowledged that streaming is going to become very important, settling in alongside disk and digital downloads. However, the medium-term goal appears to be doubling down on PlayStation Now, with a view to increasing the current 700,000 subscribers to an impressive 5 million using current capacity investments. It's beyond that where the collaboration with Microsoft kicks in to achieve the growth and scale faster than ever before. In the meantime, Sony is looking to PS4 to deliver financial success for the next 3 years, pointing to its range of unreleased first-party tentpole titles and maintaining momentum. The firm is also looking to leverage PS4 to deliver the early adopters essential in making the next-gen machine a hit, perhaps demonstrating just how crucial backwards compatibility is to the PS5's fortunes. But just how Sony aims to integrate next-gen games with Microsoft's cloud infrastructure remains unknown for now. So, if you haven't seen the video, definitely look it up if it hasn't gotten taken down yet. I'm sure there's mirrors for it, rehosted on the dark corners of the internet or whatever, but like check it out because it's very impressive to see. I'm trying to be more cognizant also of the drinking of the water into the mic. It seems like y'all don't like that, which makes a lot of sense because I'm all up in your ear holes. And so there's a lot of that going on too. So hopefully this one works out better. Next bit of news story is over at Polygon. While I get a couple other stories struggling to loaded. All right, so George R.R. Martin is reigniting rumors about a game with the Dark Souls creator. This is from, where's your name? Polygon article. Julia Lee over at Polygon.com. A new blog post by George R.R. Martin following the series finale of Game of Thrones teases that the author has been helping make a video game. Why don't you write your fucking books, George? The blog post says that he's been busy lately and even, quote, consulted on a video game out of Japan, end quote. While those details aren't too specific, a source told Gematsu that From Software is working on an unannounced title with Martin, known internally as GR. The Gematsu report also notes that the title will be officially announced at Microsoft's E3 press conference this year, and it's a collaboration between Martin and Hidetaka Miyazaki, known for his Souls series. The source explains that the game has been in development for 3 years already and is an open-world game with horse riding. It will be published by Bandai Namco. Original speculation about Martin creating a Souls-like game with From Software spawned from a tweet from Liam Robertson, quote, "There is a From Software rumor going around that is absolutely bonkers. I think you should be hearing some more about this later today," end quote. The rumors only continued following Spawn Wave's video talking about a collaboration with the Game of Thrones writer. The Microsoft E3 press conference takes place on June 9th, so we'll have to wait until then for more information. Update to the story. A previous version of the story said that the game would include horse racing instead of horse riding. That has been fixed. I can't speak too much about that. I know I try to be like, context. I think it makes sense. George R.R. Martin is a brilliant lore builder. He has a really great understanding, a great mind, as evidenced with Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire. In terms of like building lore and like that high fantasy stuff, right? So if there is this, this FromSoft game that is going to be based in more like a high fantasy kind of situation, like I don't know who better you would get to be involved with that, right? So we'll see come June 9th at Microsoft's conference. But yeah, From Software might be doing something. And it's also like it's a name attachment thing. Like you're going to see that trailer, right? And it's going to pop up with like from the creators of the Souls series, from the mind of Game of Thrones, like it's that clout, it's that weight that those kind of things carry. So you're selling it with the names. It's the same as when you get like, I'm trying to think of a really good example. Say someone, it's like when a movie comes out that looks kind of like shit, and it's like from the producer of that movie you love, or from like, if say like someone is like a producer on The Revenant, and then they go and produce I don't know, Atlantic Rim, or like a weird like animal related like disaster movie like Dog Kano. That's what we'll say. It was like, like Dog Kano is getting announced on Sci-Fi, and it's like from the producer of The Revenant, and you're like, oh wow, like okay, I remember The Revenant. I loved The Revenant. The Revenant was a great movie. I really liked it. I should, based off how this is describing it, I should love Dog Kano or Tarantulosaurus, so it's that. It's when you're getting those hooks where you're like, boom, creator of Dark Souls, boom, mind of Game of Thrones, and people are going to be like, I love those things, I will love this thing by proxy. So it's a transitive property kind of thing. So that's enough, I think, to clout to just propel a new IP, right? And you're coming from Software, from the mind of Dark Souls, from the mind of Game of Thrones. Like, that is a very, very pretty trio to throw at people to really sell this. So we'll see in a couple weeks if that rumor holds up and it's at Microsoft's conference. Next bit of news is a small one from Eddie McCutch at GameSpot. God of War sales have exceeded 10 million. That's really it. Congratulations to Sony Santa Monica. I mean, that is a hearty number. I tweeted out some sales numbers from PS4 games earlier in the week with like Uncharted at 15 million, and then it was like Last of Us Remastered 10 million, God of War 10 million, Horizon Zero Dawn 10 million, and Spider-Man's at 9 million. But you got to figure it's going to hit 10 million pretty soon, right? So really just want to give a quick shout out and congratulations to Sony Santa Monica, Corey Barlog, Shannon Stoodstill, Yumi Yang, Yumi Yang, and the whole team there at Santa Monica. Y'all know my love for God of War. I mean, you'll see it here in a few weeks as I get Untitled God of War project going, and going through its motions into its next phase of creation. Congrats. That's awesome. 10 million, man. That's fucking cool. Congratulations. Next news story is coming from Liam Croft at Push Square. Sony to invest in first-party studios through organic growth and acquisitions for PS5. This is a short one, but I need to hydrate. We're pushing it on this one. I know I typically try to get the show done in a quarter gallon of water. We are pushing it on this one here, everybody. It's a tactic that Microsoft has found great success in during previous E3 conferences, but it looks like Sony is once again stepping up its act when it comes to first-party acquisition. At last night's investor meeting, Jim Ryan stated that PlayStation is planning on investing in its lineup of first-party studios, quote, through organic growth and acquisitions, end quote, as the PlayStation 5 inches closer to release. Rather than purchasing active developers, Sony has traditionally opened studios in the past, growing its first-party library organically. This news indicates that this will continue while sprinkling in a couple of purchases along the way. The last major studio that Sony purchased was Sucker Punch way back in 2011, which had kicked off the successful Infamous franchise 2 years prior and is now working on the upcoming Ghost of Tsushima. First Party is clearly a huge success for Sony, having just announced that God of War has passed 10 million in lifetime sales. So yeah, I mean, I talk about this a lot. If there were studios I wish Sony would just pick up and be like, you're ours now. Housemarque being a big one as Storm Divers works through its PC beta. Supermassive was a big one that I really thought they kind of like, could have picked up on. Quantic Dream going over to doing the games on PC now and things like that too. I mean, there have been studios that work exclusively in like a second party sense with Sony that I think could have easily been picked up into be, bigger first party names and whatnot. But it's no surprise. I mean, with Microsoft going out, getting Compulsion, and then you had the Initiative, and their big one with Ninja Theory, right? That was a big one. Like, I don't think it was stated enough how big that acquisition is going to be in the long run for Microsoft. I think when you look at Compulsion, when you look at Obsidian, when you look at Ninja Theory, I think everyone in 5-6 years are going to look at the Ninja Theory one as being like, that was a game changer. Like, that was the one, like, whatever they work on following up from Hellblade, right? Like, whatever the follow up to that's going to be, I think is going. It's going to have a lot riding on its shoulders, obviously, but if it's good and it delivers whatever it is, then like, fuck, man. Like, Microsoft has, maybe not their Naughty Dog, but they have like their Sucker Punch. They have their Insomniac, and maybe Insomniac's one of the ones that Sony comes in and sweeps up. But, it's a thing where, it's a big deal, and like they've got to go out and they need to get like a few more to be like, maybe to bolster the stable a little bit, because they've closed Evolution, they've closed Zipper, so it's those things where it's like, okay, like, how do we do this? Like, how do we accumulate more stuff outside of just opening new studios? Like, let's go look to acquire stuff too. So I think if right now initially it'll probably be more in like the indie space, but if they're looking to actually grow like the AAA studio stuff, that's a big deal. I think that's something we'll see again more down the line. Heading back over to IGN from Colin Stevens, friend of the show. What up, Colin? Sony exploring PS5 cross-gen play with PS4 thanks to backwards compatibility. Sony suggested it's exploring PlayStation 5 cross-gen play with PlayStation 4 thanks to backwards compatibility in its next-generation console. During a Sony Investor Relations Day 2019 Q&A session, PlayStation heads indicated PS5 could include cross-gen play with PS4 players through the PS5's backwards compatibility features, suggesting people playing PS4 games on their PS5 would still be able to play online with others who are using a PS4, or potentially even play cross-gen titles across these systems. Deputy President of Sony Interactive Entertainment John Codera said through a translator, quote, "Having compatibility is a positive thing. Not only can a game be played on the next generation consoles cross-generation, the community can enjoy the games together. Bridging that compatibility has a very important role to play," end quote. Prior to this quote, President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment Jim Ryan commented on PS5's backwards compatibility, saying, quote, "Backwards compatibility in a networked era is something that's incredibly powerful. The gaming community is somewhat tribal in its nature. Backwards compatibility gives us the opportunity to migrate that community from PlayStation 4 to next gen, using the ability to play the PS4 games that they have on their next generation console with groups of 10, 20, 50 gamers. We see this, given the size of the community that we've been able to accumulate over all these years on PS4, as a really critical success factor for us. We think it's really important," end quote. Prior to this Q&A, a video of Sony's next-gen console... Yeah, we talked about that already. So, cool, right? Like, I think that's something that, like, everyone's like, yeah, we want to be able to play our PS4 games on there. We want to play PS4 games on PS5. But it's interesting. I never really heard the question of, like, if I'm on PS5 playing a PS4 game, can I still play this online? And it's just kind of like an assumed thing, but it's one of those like assumed things that if they don't come out and say like, hey, yeah, this is something we're looking to do, like it could turn some heads in a negative light, right? To be like, what do you mean I can't? What would be the point? Like for me, I'm just looking at like, oh, cool. Like I can take these like indie games I've missed or like that I've purchased and, missed out on or whatever, or just didn't get to. I just get to pick my backlog up, move it to a new system, and then just it gets bigger. And now it's just spreading through generations. And I at least got through, I think, pretty much anything I would want to on the PS3 before I moved on to this fucking thing. And now I'm going to be able to take the games off old launchy here, throw it onto a PS5, and still not play them. I can play them online, which is cool, right? Like you look at something like Overwatch or something like Fortnite, something like Apex Legends, like you're going to want to be able to do that because not everybody at Fortnite, not everybody on Apex, not everybody on Overwatch is just going to be able to like a claw machine, pick up, transport to PS5, drop in while bam, like that stuff costs money and these are kids and these are kids' parents and not everybody has the money to do stuff like this. And so that is important to have that community transcend those generations, especially on those free-to-play games, especially on those online games. So to be able to get that message out, to be like, hey, look, yeah, we're going to make sure this happens. Like, this is very important that we get this to work. It's an important message to send because, like I said, it's something that you think is like, oh, naturally, that makes sense. Like, why wouldn't it? But, like, if it didn't work, like, fuck, man, like, that's a bad look. So getting ahead of that, and being like, yes, look, this is something we're looking to do. We understand, like, this is important. We want to pick the community up, migrate it throughout the generations and things like that. It's a good move. It's a good look. Going to Call of Duty news over at Kotaku from Jason Schreier. The next Call of Duty game is called Modern Warfare. The first Modern Warfare game was called Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, so it's only natural that the fourth Modern Warfare game is called Call of Duty Modern Warfare. News on this year's strangely named Call of Duty leaked out via YouTuber Long Sensation. God damn it, I hate the fucking news and the way we get it now. This morning, Activision has been showing the game to press and, quote, influencers for a week now, so a leak like this was inevitable. Kotaku has not seen the game or agreed to any embargo, but we've heard from many sources connected that the Call of Duty world that it is indeed called Call of Duty Modern Warfare and that it is a, quote, soft reboot. Developed by Infinity Ward for release this fall. It'll be heavy on troubling, realistic emotional moments, very much inspired by the controversial No Russian campaign in Modern Warfare 2 that allowed the player to gun down civilians. Kotaku also broke the news last week's about the 2020 game kind of being in flux. So it's fun to laugh at, right? We're doing franchise fatigue and the Madden shooter, and it's an annualized game, and I'm so tired of Call of Duty. So let's make fun of the name. Here's the thing. What was this, the 6th God of War game? 4th mainline one? And we're calling it God of War. 2011. What was it, the 9th Mortal Kombat game? What did we call it? Mortal Kombat. This isn't new. This is something that's not been done before. Yeah, is it confusing? A little bit. But what if the A in Warfare is a 4? Who's laughing now? Me. Because I solved your conundrum. Like, it's just... I don't know why we're poking fun. I don't know why we're laughing at it. Like... People like Call of Duty. Who gives a shit? Like, who cares what it's named? Like, it's not, Can you imagine if it was a JRPG? But like, I don't know why that Schreier's article had to be so cheeky about it too. To be like, that's video games for you. Like, yeah, okay, I get it. Naming conventions are fucking stupid. But like, Jesus Christ, the Xbox. The second Xbox is the Xbox 360, which really is indicative of nothing considering the fact you're just saying we've gone full circle. Like, we're back where we started. And then the third one, naturally, is the Xbox One, then the One X, and then the One S. Naming conventions are stupid. Don't poke fun at fucking Activision or whatever just because you don't like Call of Duty or just because you're fatigued on it or just because you're tired about it. Like, if it's a soft reboot, why not call it Modern Warfare? That's why God of War wasn't God of War 4. This isn't Modern Warfare. It's not Mortal Kombat 9. Yeah, we've got 10, 11, XL, whatever. But, like, chill. Stop trying to be a dirty naysayer. Stop trying to poke fun at stuff and, like not outrage culture. What I'm trying to think of? Like just dissension and being contrarian culture. It's just cool to make fun of the thing that's cool. And that's why Barstool Sports gets a bunch of views when they make fun of kids for like in Fortnite. They're fucking kids, Barstool Sports. Eat my ass. Anyways, that's that. Modern Warfare is the new Call of Duty game. Going over back to IGN with Colin Stevens again. What up, Colin? PS4's biggest exclusives are still coming to current gen because, you may have been worried. Sony confirmed that the biggest PS4 exclusives will still be coming to the current generation consoles, but didn't specifically rule out them appearing on PS5. During the Investor Relations Day in 2019, President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment Jim Ryan spoke over a slide including key art for The Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima that focused on the critical role of the PS4 over the next few years. Quote, "For the next 3 years or so, PS4 will be the engine of SIE's engagement and probability, as we seek to keep the existing owner playing base and delight it." Woof. Okay. Quote, "For the next 3 years or so, PS4 will be the engine of SIE's engagement and probability, as we seek to keep the existing owner base engaged and delighted and attract new owners from different markets and different demographics," said Ryan, speaking over the slide, continuing, "In this, we will be massively helped by an outstanding roster of new and exclusive games that have yet to be launched," end quote. The inclusion of these games in the PS4-centric slide confirms that they are still planned for the current generation, though these comments don't rule out the possibility of them appearing on PS5. Regardless of if they receive official cross-generation releases, the PS5 is confirmed to include PS4 backwards compatibility, meaning these PS4 games will be playable on PS5 in one form or another. So, nothing we haven't talked about, like when we talk about Ghost, when we talk about Death Stranding, when we talk about Last of Us Part 2, like, odds are these are going to be PS4 and PS5 games, conjointly, whether that's through backwards compatibility or whether that is through a remaster a couple years later, or whether that is through, hey, this is launching on both systems at the same time, day and date, whatever. Like, it's very evident that these games will be PS5 and PS4. Like I said, could it just be you're buying the PS4 version to play on the PS5? Sure. Could there also be PS5 versions and a PS4 version? Yes. Like I said, whether that's a remaster down the line or whether that's, a couple months after one or the other, whatever. But no surprise that they're still going to pump these 3 games out for the PS4, right? So no surprise there at all. We're going to do new games and dates, a whole news roundup thing. Need this first, so quick second, and I'll be right back. All right. So first up, before we get into the new games and dates, we got some deals for you. It's the PS Plus double discount savings time. So it's up to 40% for non-PS Plus members, up to 80% off some of these games here. You can find the whole list over at the PlayStation blog. The sale ends June 4th, 8 a.m. Pacific time. So you have been warned. I'm going to rattle off some on here. These are going to be the PS Plus prices. So 1979 Revolution Black Friday, which is this heralded adventure game, is $3.59. Adventure Time Pirates of the Enchiridion is $7.99. Jesus Christ, I think I paid $40 for that thing. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Chronicles Trilogy is $17.99. Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2 Ultimate Bundle is $29.99. Battlefield 4 is $4.79. Battlefield Hardline Premium is $11.99. Battlefield 4 Premium Edition is $9.59. BioShock The Collection is $14.39. Let's see. Borderlands Game of the Year Edition is $19.79. I'm not even going to tell you that Bubsy price. Burnout Paradise Remastered is $4.79. Dirt 4 is $11.99. Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition is $10.39. Game of the Year Edition for Dragon Age Inquisition is $9.59. Far Cry New Dawn Complete Edition is $39.99. Farming Simulator 17 is $8.99. Fibbage is $2.79. Grand Theft Auto 5 is $14.99. Grand Theft Auto 5 Premium Online Edition is $15.59. And Grand Theft Auto The Trilogy is $17.49. Just Cause 4 Digital Deluxe Edition $34.99. Just Cause 4 Standard Edition $29.99. LA Noire $19.99. Mass Effect Andromeda Deluxe Recruit Edition $9.59. Let's see, going through. Mutant Year Zero is $24.49. NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 is $14.99. NBA 2K19 is $19.19. And NBA 2K19 plus NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 bundle is $25.59. No Man's Sky is $24.99. Override Mech City Brawl is $8.99. Let's see. There's no Personas that I check. Plants vs. Zombies 2 Garden Warfare. Plant vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 Standard Edition is $1.99. Deluxe Edition's $2.49. Shadows of the Tomb Raider is $29.99. And then the various editions there. Sniper Elite 3 is $11.99. Star Wars Battlefront Ultimate Edition is $4.79. That's the first Battlefront. SteamWorld Dig is $1.99. SteamWorld Dig 2 $7.99. SteamWorld Heist $2.99. Tacoma is $5.99. The first The Division is $9.39. Jackbox games are on sale. Jackbox Party Pack is $9.99. Party Pack 3 is $9.99. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition is $14.99. That's tempting, and I know I'll never play it. Titanfall 2 is $7.19. And I think XCOM 2 collection is $33.99. XCOM 2 Digital Deluxe Edition $17.99. And then there's some PS3 games that are in there as well. And there are also some Vita games on sale. If you're looking for any Vita games, there's the Drinkbox Vita collection for $4.99. Guacamelee by itself is $2.99. SteamWorld Dig is on there. In terms of the PS3 games, Okami HD is $5.59. And Dragon Age Origins is $3.99. BioShock Infinite's $5.99. BioShock and BioShock 2 are $3.99 each. Alice Madness Returns is $3.99 as well. Dead Space 2 is $5.99. Dead Space 3 is $5.99. Dead Space is $4.99. So those are some highlights from the double discount sale for y'all. That runs, like I said, until June 4th at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Some new games and dates for you. The House and Fata Morgana is coming to PS4 and PS Vita May 31st through Limited Run Games. So if you want that, go get that. Path of Exile Legion launches June 10th. Man of Medan from Supermassive is coming August 30th, and that cannot get here soon enough. Luna lands on PS4 and PSVR June 18th. Those are your upcoming games and dates. But if you want to know what's coming out this week, for the week of May 28th, then ladies and gentlemen, let's do the drop. Now, if you've got a VR, you're going to like the stuff I'm going to be rattling off here. Now, remember, the drop is your list of new releases on the PlayStation Store for the week of May 28th, 2019, North American only, and subject to change without notice. First up is your Alex Derrickson-ass game of the week. Just boom, right here, right off the bat. Blood and Truth comes to PSVR digital and retail. Star in your own explosive action movie blockbuster with this PSVR exclusive shooter. Battle through the crime-ridden London underworld as elite soldier Ryan Marks in your deadliest mission yet. To save your family from a ruthless criminal empire, wreak havoc through an unpredictable story packed with twists and shocking revelations. Cricket 19 comes to PS4 digital May 29th. Lead your team to international glory with Cricket 19, the truly global cricket simulation from Big Ant Studios, the leading name in authentic, realistic cricket action. Cricket 19 allows you to take control of your team from club through national level and lead them to T20 ODI or Test match glory. What? DayZ comes to PS4 digital May 29th. The post-Soviet country of Chernaris is struck by an unknown virus, turning the majority population into frenzied infected. Fighting over resources has bred a hostile mentality among survivors, driving what's left of humanity to collapse. You are one of the few immune to the virus. How far will you go to survive? Dragonfang Z, The Rose and Dungeon of Time come to PS4 digital May 29th. This game offers a nostalgic and new experience. It is a wonderful roguelike RPG that will test your bravery. Rose is half human and half dragon. One day she wanders into a world called the Tree of Time and her nanny, Fairy. That's the end of the sentence. Your courage and growth will be the key to clear the dungeon. Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted comes to PSVR digital. Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted is a collection of classic and original minigames set in the Five Nights universe. Survive terrifying encounters with your favorite killer animatronics and a collection of new and classic Five Nights at Freddy's experiences. Quote, where fantasy and fun come to life. End quote. Gollum Gates comes to PS4 Digital, and holy shit, if there was ever a game that looked like it was ripped off from the likes of like Vanquish, Too Human, and like I don't know what like a D-list Quake would be, it is absolutely Gollum Gates. Gollum Gates is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi blend of action strategy and card battler, pitting your conjured armies against otherworldly forces. Choose from 100 cards, known as glyphs, and unleash diverse units, buildings, buffs, and more in tactical combat across single-player, co-op, and multiplayer. The House in Fata Morgana comes to PS Vita, digital and retail cross-buy. A gothic suspense tale set in a cursed mansion. The House in Fata Morgana is a full-length visual novel spanning nearly a millennium that deals in tragedy, human nature, and insanity. And then there's a link to the blog post. Lapis X Labyrinth comes to PS4 digital and retail. Help a struggling town recover from bankruptcy in an age of dwindling adventuring. Recruit and customize your team of adventurers in this high-voltage action platformer. Behind every monster inside the labyrinth could be unfathomable treasures, endless gold, or perhaps even more terrible nightmares. Layers of Fear 2 comes to PS4 digital. Layers of Fear 2 is a first-person psychological horror game with an emphasis on exploration and story. Players control a Hollywood actor who heeds the call of an enigmatic director to take on the lead role in a film shot aboard an ocean liner. Beware, for all may not be truly what it seems. Super Cane Magic Zero comes to PS4 digital May 30th. Cake the Wizard is dead and his magic dog is out of control. Can you save the world? Can you save the dog? Gear up, eat rocks, throw banana boomerangs, and fight a giant potato. Explore a huge game world, unlock over 15 playable characters, and collect hundreds of items and perks in this local co-op action RPG for 1 to 4 players. Super Tennis Blast comes to PS4 digital May 24th. Smash that ball and have a real blast enjoying the best tennis. Start your professional career in the World Tour mode, train your skills, and become a tennis legend playing on courts around the world. Host couch parties, playing tournaments in singles and doubles with classic rules or the awesome Super Blast modes. Trover Saves the Universe comes to PS4 and PSVR digital and retail May 31st. Your dogs have been dog-napped by a beaked lunatic who stuffed them into his eye holes and is using their life essence to destroy the universe. You are partnered with Trover, a little purple eye hole monster who isn't a huge fan of working or being put in the position of having to save the universe. Unruly Heroes comes to PS4 digital. Take control of 4 unlikely heroes that battle a diverse lineup of enemies and show off your kung fu skills in this action-packed adventure. Seamlessly swap between heroes and journey west across stunning different environments in order to hunt for the scattered remnants of the sacred scroll. Warlock's Tower comes to PS4 and PS Vita, digital and cross-buy, and is without a doubt the worst cover art of the week. Warlock's Tower is a retro puzzler with elegantly designed levels around one simple rule. 1 move equals 1 life lost. Playing as Mailman Tim, brave the tower's maddening puzzles to reach the top and deliver a peace offering to the Warlock. And those are your new releases for this week. Very excited about Blood and Truth, and I'm very excited about Trover Saves the Universe. Not so much about that Five Nights at Freddy's, though. So now's the time for Trophy Talk. Remember, Trophy Talk is the part of the show where I take you from 0 to 100 on a game as fast as possible, because the sanctity of trophies are dead. And when you're shoved in your pyramid with your sarcophagus of your wares and your forks and your gold plates, you can't take these with you. So I'm only pulling a couple. There's only a few that actually stand out here. I'm double checking. Yeah, we're getting into last week's stuff from here. So I'm going to pull Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted because it has 0 bronze, 5 silver, 9 gold, and a platinum. Just take a look here. Get jump scared. That seems like a guarantee. Activate the party machine, eat a piece of candy, find all tokens, completed the prize counter, find a hidden token, finish the game, stay put for ages 3 and up. I don't know what that one is. The one I did want to pull here, though, is unfortunately your worst cover art of the week, which is Warlock's Tower, which has 5 bronze, 8 silver, 8 gold, and a platinum, and is currently sitting on PSN profiles at a 60% platinum achievement and a 55.6% platinum achievement on the PlayStation Network itself. So let's roll through these. Talk to the evil warlock for the first time. Talk to Jess for the first time. Reach the game's second world. Reach the game's third world, fourth world, last world. Talk to Leyenda do Hero's hero. Talk to the Puzzle Depot's tutorial. Tutorial. Get out of here. Talk to the Racket Boy himself. Talk to this person. Talk to that person. Get the magic flag. Play a stage where there's a zombie. Play a stage where there's a slime. Play a stage where there's a flea. F-L-E-Y-E. Flare. Beat all dungeon stages. Beat all factory stages. Beat all warehouse stages. Beat all library stages. Beat all chamber stages. And finish the game. That's it. Looks like you just got to beat the game and talk to some people. That'll get you that there platinum for Warlock's Tower. Also, Word Wheel by Palgi is out, or will be out. 3 bronze, 27 silver, 2 gold, and a platinum. I don't need to go through another Palgi trophy list to let you know. If you wait for the guide, you're going to get the platinum. Other than that, that looks like it. So your picks are going to be Warlock's Tower and Word Wheel by Palgi once a guide's up, you know. Let me check this. Let me check one. We might have one more. No. Okay. No. That is a low percentage. So that is your trophy talk for this week, which means we have come to another end for the 62nd time. An end to the PlayStation Forecast, which comes to you each and every Tuesday. I almost said at 9 a.m. That's not true anymore. Each and every Tuesday on youtube.com/pressx2alex and podcast services around the globe. Remember, thank you all so much for joining me. I love you all so much. It means the world to me. And if you want to support the show, you can over at patreon.com/pressx2alex for $1 a month. If you don't have that buck, no big deal. Just share the podcast, share the videos, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, leave a nice little review on iTunes. You know, the small things you can do, the non-monetary things you can do to support the show, help it spread, help it get found. Remember, if you ever want to catch me on the facets of the internet, you can every Wednesday at twitch.tv/pressx2alex or over on youtube.com/pressx2alex, where I stream games each and every Wednesday around 8 p.m. Eastern, usually to about 9, 10, just depending on if the game is really getting me or not. And then from there... thanks all for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/pressx2alex. And I'm going to go get caught up on this here Twitch chat, get all this stuff ready for Tuesday. So until then, I love you. Take care and do the thing.